Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll answer the question, how do you create heaven at work? We'll be talking to a workplace culture expert just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about a quarter like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I've always prided myself on workplace culture. I like to call my company a thank God it's Monday company because the employees just love each other. I hear laughter every day over the lunch hour. But of course, the pandemic can change things. Having people work remotely can change culture. A new manager, a new employee can change the culture. And so it's important to always protect that. To talk about that today, John A. Robertson, he is with Excellent Cultures. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. And on the show, Jeff, and it is very important when you're saying heaven on earth. Everybody wants a good culture, and most employers think they have a good culture. But I think when people wake up every morning to be able to come to work excited, waking up 2 hours early and coming to work, I think that's what we're saying when we say excellent cultures and having heaven at work.
Absolutely, and some bosses think naively they can put it in a ping pong table and that's improving the culture, but it goes beyond that, doesn't it? How does Excellent Cultures work with companies?
Well, the way I learned about cultures is I worked for a company that was one of the top things that I always had to teach people is it's about making a good corporate cultural fit. I told them that when you work for your company and you there's going to be a place where the cooler is. The people are going to be different, etc. It's about making a good corporate cultural fit right from the start and knowing, where you're going to work and what you bring to the table to make your company all it can be.
And you actually discovered this company through a workshop. Is that right? Tell that story.
Well, I actually discovered it through their first workshop of 2021 in March of this year. And one of the things about this great workshop is it teaches you behavioral modification, it teaches you organizational management, leadership, and all kinds of things. And one of the things I learned there is about our limiting beliefs that we have. And it also taught me about setting goals and doing it through affirmations. So at that workshop, I weighed 220 pounds. And I wrote down on my little card 156, and I wrote down a certain dollar figure. I'm not there with the dollar figure, but I got to 155 pounds.
Wow, and if you don't believe him, we're going to show a before and after. This is you with an Elvis impersonator. When was that picture taken?
Well, I'd say it was about a year or two ago, and then a year and a half ago, before the pandemic. Yeah. And then a few weeks ago, there was a month or so ago, in Grapevine, he performed again, and I went to see Craig Parker, and I said, Craig, I wanted to tell you that I've lost 55 pounds at that point. And
it's almost like Elvis in the later years and Elvis in the younger years, what you accomplished. And how did you do it? Tell the audience how you were able to do that.
I think the beginning, when I first started, I had to get to the point of, okay, I have some limiting beliefs, like what I'd learned in the workshop. The limiting belief for me was, I was 7 years old, and I had to say to myself, okay, back 20, 30 years ago, I could fast, I can do anything, I could prepare. But I was scared. I ate salads, I did everything, and maybe lost 10 pounds. And then I said, okay, I need to fast. And I remembered a poem.
Would you read it for us?
There was a poem that I wrote 40 years about food. Okay. And when I remembered this poem, it said, food is unessential when I am with you. You are my juice, my staff, my energy. You fill me with vitamins. Your ingredients consist of kindness, of caring, and listening to my non-essential chatter to my every word. You are part inspiration and part inspirational. You're the tick that may turn me on. please don't stop feeding me because food is non-essential, but you are what makes me breathe. As soon as I realized food was unessential, I could fast.
And when food?
Well, I don't want to say it was a true fast. I mean, some people think, oh, he just drank water for X period of days. No, I juice fast, and I found the high I could get as many as 40 grams of protein. I drank juices, and it was more of a juice fast, but I had no solid food for 125 days.
No kidding. And so were the pounds dropping a couple a week, or how fast was it coming off?
It was slow at first. Like I said, I started out 220, and then it was like 215, 210. But really, when I started the true fast, I would say it took 3 months, and I lost 65 pounds.
Amazing. And you're a man who has shown discipline before. We're going to show a picture of you as a marathoner. You have run 21 marathons?
Well, after age 40, and both times I did run a marathon, it was on a bet. So I'd like to take a challenge. The first one was, I bet you $100 you can't run a marathon. Well, I started in October, and the marathon was in January, and I did it. The second time, I went for a 5K at Prestonwood 5K, and an associate young pup pastor passed me at the end. I said, this is it. I joined the aerobic center. Well, once I joined the aerobic center, I found out there was a Boston Marathon. When I found out about the Boston Marathon, I said, what does it take to qualify? Well, at your age, 3:20. I ran a 3:11.
That's amazing.
I went to 5 of those.
And so 5 Boston Marathons. You also ran in Greece, which is the home of the first marathon, right?
Well, Athens Marathon was interesting. Jeff Galloway was a marathoner. Many people don't know Jeff, but he is the man who started Phidippides Running Stores, which I think is one of the first running stores. He started in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was in the same Olympics that Frank Shorter won the marathon.
Wow.
But I think he probably came in 5th or 6th. But Jeff Galloway was in town for a 5K or a 10K. He was signing some people up to go to the Athens Marathon. I signed up, and that led me to a goal. Okay, it's going to cost $15,000. So I had to sit down and figure out what was it going to take for me to make $15,000 to go.
And so, and to lose the weight, all you did was tap into a willpower that you've had forever. In fact, I want to brag about you in your sales career, because you started out as a young man in sales and started breaking sales records, didn't you?
Well, what happened is when I graduated from Jacksonville University, there was a number of opportunities. What I really wanted to be was a stockbroker. But they said, kid, you got to go and work for 2 or 3 years, then come back and you'll be a stockbroker. So I interviewed all these companies, and there was offers a lot higher. But I went for an interview with More Business Forum, and on the wall, there was a poster of Acapulco. And I said, what does it take to do that, Acapulco? And they said, well, we appreciate your enthusiasm, son, but there's only 6 months before this contest ends, but maybe next year. Well, I sold a year's quota in 6 months, and I went to Acapulco, 23 years old, and Rookie of the Year.
Wow. There's a quote that you use a lot, a transfer of enthusiasm. Explain that.
Well, one of my first sales classes, and this was probably within the 2 years of me selling, had to go up to a sales class in South Carolina. There was a lady that was teaching our class, and I learned selling is a transfer of enthusiasm. And the thing I realized was, if you can transfer your enthusiasm for your product or service to another person, now, you've got to remember, if you don't have enthusiasm for your product or service, nobody's going to buy from you. So you have to be very careful what you sell. But, like, for example, I sold a copy machine once. That copy machine acted up so much, I said, no, I'm not going to be selling copy machines.
You have to believe in it.
You have to believe in it. So, but if you can transfer your enthusiasm for your product or service, you have a sale. And the one thing I'll tell anybody is, everybody's a salesperson.
Yes.
If you're a man, you're married to your wife, just choosing a restaurant, your wife's either going to sell you on the restaurant you're going to go to, or you're going to sell her on the restaurant.
Right. And every man who has ever put a ring on somebody's finger has performed a major sale, right? I mean, in order to get somebody to say, I do, and you've been married to your beautiful bride for how many years?
38 in December.
38 years. That's Absolutely amazing. Let's talk about the great Zig Ziglar, because you and I are both fans, and he passed away a few years ago, but you actually had the chance to worship with him. You went to his church, is that right?
Well, I was in the Zig Ziglar encourager class, probably the last 5 or 6 years he was alive. He wasn't really teaching. He had others, but he was always sitting right there in the front row. And I probably saw Zig Ziglar and his brother Judge at Opryland Hotel 2 weeks before my wife and I were married. And I remember towards the end of his life, we went to a lunch together at Olive Garden, and I brought him the book, and I said, here's the book you signed before we got married. I wanted to let you know we've been married now 30-something years, and he signed it again.
That is so cool. Okay, what are your favorite memories of Zig? What do you draw from Zig when it comes to relationship building and sales?
Okay, Zig Ziglar was going through a tough time because his daughter, I think one of his daughters died of leukemia or something of that nature. And he used to sit in the second or third row in major Prestonwood Church. And I sat almost right across the way from him. And one day I was talking to him, I could tell that Zig was down. I said, Zig, I want to tell you, everybody knows a lot of your quotes, but let me tell you one that I remembered. And one of the ones I remembered was, go as far as you can see, and then you can see further. And I told him that, and he said, oh, I forgot that one. And he perked right back up. But that, everybody knows all the other quotes. I mean, there's a million quotes that people quote Zig Ziglar, but the one I remember was, go as far as you can see, and then you can see further.
Well, we're almost out of time, but one of the things that you have been called is the human explanation, Mark. And I think that's a wonderful name to be, or a phrase to be associated with. I want you to look into the camera on the right and talk to the viewer about how important enthusiasm and passion is to everyday life.
I would say this. So without enthusiasm, without passion, without a vision, the people perish. I think you have to wake up with imagination, with purpose, and with enthusiasm for every day. And I can tell you, songs and songs lyrics mean so much to me. So I'll let you guys look it up because I don't have much time. But there's a song in Willy Wonka called Pure Imagination. And if you see what pure imagination does for you, you'll see eternity.
Wow, I remember that song. Wow, what a great way to leave it. We're going to end with your website, excellentcultures.com is the website. John A. Robertson, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.